Tell them what you said about this music.
What did I say?
It's spiritual?
Oh, yeah. We're now a Christian rock podcast, actually.
You're like, this is spiritual.
Oh, no. Whenever that plays, I'm like, it feels like.
Oh, yes.
That guides are like, let's laugh.
Totally. Well, yes. Mm-hmm. Right before this.
So on our little soundboard, there's like these little green buttons you can press, and one claps. There's like cricket sounds. Every once in a while, we get the rock. You guys just got the rock.
Rocking for Jesus.
Rocking for Jesus. Dude, I had a moment there where I was like, listen, Christian rock was on my car all the time, and I liked it.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually really good. Every song sounds the same, but it was good.
It's kind of like country in that way.
Mm-hmm.
Where you're like, I know I'm going to get a good story here, and it's going to make me feel just good in my heart.
Yes. Yes. 100%.
Were you ever into like a weird music phase that no one would expect from you, or?
In high school, I was kind of like emo. It was like Paramore.
Yeah.
I like Census Fail.
So, did you know Cartel? Did you listen to Cartel?
Yes, I've heard of Cartel. Coheed and Cambria.
That whole album, I feel like it came on I don't know where I was in a store, and it came on, and I was like, that's why music is so powerful.
Yes, it is.
It brought back, like, I was like, I'm in the back seat of my boyfriend's car, and we're crying, and we're fighting.
Yes, as you do. And you always have, like, it was like, Dashboard Confessional.
Oh, yeah.
How much I cried to Dashboard Confessional should be illegal. Honestly, it was like when I wanted it. When I was like, dude, I could cry right now listening to it. It was so good. And then I had a Pitchfork phase where I was hanging out with, like,
what's
these
Pitchfork?
guys. It's an online publication. It's like a music review publication.
Cool.
And so I was like Animal Collective, MIA, like Death Cab for Cutie. Like that was when it was just like I was really in the music scene of like what was cool.
In high school?
Yeah.
Wow.
Smoking weed.
I'm picturing
listening to good music.
I'm picturing that scene from Clueless where you're like walking through the, like kind of the, what do they call it? Not the yard. You know what I'm saying?
So the school.
The school, like walking up to the school, and you see all the different types of cliques, and I just see you smoking a doob
with the boys. I was in the parking lot smoking a doob with the boys. One time we were like in my backyard on my patio smoking weed after school and listening to music. And they kept complaining how I kept getting peanut butter all over the little weed thing we were smoking. But we were sitting there, we were so high on my patio, and all of a sudden we hear this noise, and we're like, oh my God, someone's coming. We're so scared. We don't even know what to do. We're like, we can't go inside because we're scared to go inside. So we just were sitting there, and this man like emerges from the bush from my backyard, and we're like, oh my God. And he has this like lawnmower thing, like where he blows the leaves, and we're like, what the fuck is going on? And he's like, comes up, he's like, hey, can I hit that? So we were smoking so much, it was like our neighbors could smell it, and their lawn man came over and wanted to hit that. So we were smoking with like a lawn man for like 30 minutes. It was so fucking stupid.
So much like tension. He comes out with the blower,
so
you're
much.
like, oh my God, he's gonna kill us.
Literally so scared. We're like, we're gonna be arrested and we're gonna be in jail. We're arrested, we're in jail, this is it.
Holy shit. Meanwhile, I remember, I think it was senior year, and we went over to this is going to be so annoying for everyone to hear. We went over to this girl's house, and we were drinking like Smirnoff Ices and like just,
you do. Dropping Jolly Ranchers in them.
Malt liquor. And I was so paranoid because my parents were so strict. And I think I was like set to sleep over their house, which I didn't go on many sleepovers. How boring. And I remember like getting drunk off of like one Smirnoff Ice and getting really paranoid. So like they would want to like have the lights on and just like hang and like kind of party or whatever. By the way, this is all girls. And I kept turning the lights off. I'm like, guys, we need to be quiet. We need to be in the dark. Like someone's going to call the cops on us. So I kept turning off the lights. They're like, turn the fucking lights on. And I just kept turning them off or like dimming them. Like it was like a bad SNL sketch. I'm like, I'm so annoying.
Yes. Yes, you're like the girl in the corner that's scared. One time I was at a party and everyone was drinking and the cops came and I hid in the closet and the cops never found me.
Ooh.
Isn't that a good one?
That probably set you up to not fear.
I know. Me and like 4 people were in the closet and we were like...
You weren't breathing.
And we were not breathing and the cops didn't open the door and we were... Yeah.
Wow.
It's a good one.
Wow, those cops were dumb.
Dumbass cops. There's a lot to do. There was a lot of kids at the party. They were like, this is enough for
They're
today.
like 18 people sounds good. We'll round those up.
We'll go with this.
Damn.
I know.
So funny.
Those were the days. And one of my guy friends tried to outrun the cops and like couldn't. He like was like one of those guys who thought he was like so cool and fast. And was like, I could outrun these guys and like didn't. It was so funny.
He like tripped on his baggy jeans.
Yeah, honestly, his like Jinkos. Yeah, it was like so funny.
Oh.
Anyways. Oh man.
Lord have mercy.
So we were looking at our it's the last episode of the year.
Yeah.
And I was looking at my DMs and some of the Q&A I was doing, and there were some good questions that Lindsey and I wanted to talk about before we get into the female friendships episode, which just feels so important. And I'm so excited about it. One of the questions was, what have we learned in 2020? Patience.
I know, I was like, as if I haven't been asked this 85
I
times
know,
in the last
100%.
week.
I'm like,
Jesus Christ.
you don't need to do a lot to get results. That we can be home and still succeed and thrive.
Then I can trust myself.
Yeah, honestly. Mine's like, I didn't need to work out as much as I was. Mine are like pretty simple. It's like, don't need to work out that much. Don't need to be doing that much to be okay.
I couldn't agree more. Say more about that. Like, what specifically?
I was just working out like so much at the gyms. At the gyms, you know, as you work out the jimmies, and you just don't need I didn't need to be working out that much to see basically the same results. It's so much less about how you work out, and more so about what you eat. And then we were traveling so much, we were always on the go. Didn't need to be traveling as much to still really feel fulfilled and feel happy and feel creative. And I do feel like I'm excited for next year to feel super connected to the community, like in a deep way again. I feel like it's been hard because we used to be on tour with everyone. So I'm looking forward to that. And just I have solidified, I guess, as like a spiritual thing, my belief and sense of my purpose as like a leader and teacher, you know, and I feel like that has been really dropping into my consciousness over the year. And it's been what I've learned about myself, I think, the most.
Yeah. I'm excited to bear witness. And what if, just on that note of like doing less, I definitely, I echo the workout thing I was doing. Even like after Soul Cycle, I was still doing a lot just to kind of like keep up with that feeling and that fear of like, is my body going to change if I don't work out too much? But I gotta say, walking is amazing for the body. Get in those steps in if you can. It's really, really good. And just like stretching and just, this is what I found is that when I worked out too much, you would think that you would become more embodied and more like in your body, and it actually kind of spirals you out of your body a little bit.
Totally.
So I've found this like kind of happy medium, although I do miss being in person with people working out. I do like that. It motivates me, but I found a happy medium where I'm able to move, sweat a little bit, stretch, which feels really good, and just still feel healthy. And as you said, it's so much about the food, and really like it's about noticing my thoughts around my body, around food, around working out, because if this year has taught me anything about that part of my life, it's like I've noticed a difference in my skin, in my digestion, in how I look, because I'm just not as like critical all the time. Maybe it's because we're not out and about and on tour and in front of people all the time.
Traveling a lot.
Yeah, but it's just different, and I'm taking note of that.
So you're prettier. You think you're prettier?
Yeah, I think I'm gorgeous.
The biggest change is the improvement in my looks. It's so true. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but I think you all have seen the change. And it's all good.
It's all good. I have room for improvement, but I'm feeling really good.
This pandemic has been a glow up for me. No, I'm just kidding. I totally feel that, and I see that for sure.
Yeah, it's just, I think it's also just like being able to be home, and I do feel like we've gotten more rest in a little bit more, and the rest is so key.
Yeah, the rest is just so key. I mean, there's just so many. I feel like there's like, you learn a new lesson every day if you really want to. Another one of the questions was, do you feel like in 2020 you can speak your truth? And I said,
No.
no. And I said, haha.
No.
No, I don't.
It's the social media environment that we're in, inevitably, because we're all on our phones all the time, on the computer, on, watching TV, whatever. It's just hard. It's hard to feel like, because I'm seeing so many people canceled, taken down, people going against this and that, I'm like, ooh. And those people are just speaking what's true to them, no matter what they believe. It's just like, when people are speaking their own truth, they're getting, ripped.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to get to the place where I'm unafraid of being ripped. And then I've also just contemplated, like, is that the space for me where I want to speak my truth?
Totally.
I think I'm working on speaking my truth to, like, my freaking boyfriend or my parents or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I really want to work there, because I've had a love-hate relationship with social media, especially in the last year, of just being like, I don't want to be on here and I don't want to say anything. And then I'll have days where I'm like, I want to diary my life and tell you everything I'm thinking.
Totally. Yeah. It was like, I was laughing when I got that question, because I was like, no, not at all. And it's, there's also so much of what in my process of discernment, where is it my place to say something about something? Where is it my ego that wants to say something about something? Where is it fear? Where is it fear mongering that wants to say something about something? And I've never wanted to be someone that's like telling anyone how to feel about anything. That's not my place, but it has been. So now I feel almost fine about how much I've shared, but I feel like there is opportunity for more. It's just such an interesting thing. It's not like we haven't been censored at all, but it's like, I think about the way in which that social media censors things, as like misinformation, and or like determines it as misinformation. And there definitely is a lot of misinformation that happens online. But my issue with that is like, what it's basically saying is that no one is smart enough to discern on their own what is true and what's not.
Yep.
And I believe that like all of our audience, all of our community is smart enough to figure out what's true and what's not. And it just leaves the opportunity for us to not trust our news sources, media sources, and not trust ourselves, and to just not get information that isn't filtered through big tech organizations or, the higher ups that be. So the censorship thing is something that I really keep my eyes close to watch, because I've always believed that no matter what you're saying, you should feel free to say and express it. And if we think about over time, like a lot of the things that we talk about here, if we were talking about years before, would be ridiculous, ridiculed, like censored, whatever. And it's like, when you are on a spiritual path or a path of exploration or a path of enlightenment, you most likely will be expressing or feeling or seeking information that could potentially be considered information that is to be censored. So it's like, on this path, I think we're all more so in it together than people think.
Yes. On the especially on social media, where they have the little, like, fact checker things or whatever, where it's like, visit this website to hear the facts or whatever it is.
Factcheck.org. And I love the factcheck.org, because it's like, actually, this has been checked as not true. And it's like, okay.
It's literally like a chicken. They're like, okay.
Yeah, they're like, sorry, not true. Okay. There's no proof. There's nothing. Well,
the whole thing is, if we're going to do that, every single fucking
100%.
post on Instagram should
100%.
have that and say, hey, human being who's a sovereign being, you have your own brain and ability to do your own research and discern whether this is truth for you or not. Hi. It could be a promotion post for skincare or a vaccine post. Like, discern. But, like, to pick and choose is very weird.
Yes, very weird. Very weird.
But,
you know,
what are we going to do?
We're two idiots. Two blonde girls living in Los Angeles. What do we know?
What do we know?
So yeah, that's, and I mean, I'm sure, you know, it is interesting when I just shared, shared that I don't feel like I can. It's something that has extremely, very much bothered me in the past. And now I'm sort of settling into the knowance that the way that I will lead or awaken will be not so direct, speaking my truth. But so many people were DMing me like, I haven't felt like I could either. Like, and I'm sure they think, this is the whole thing. It's like, who knows what they think? And that's the whole thing too, is like, people have assumptions too, if you're not speaking your truth, that you think a certain way. And that's not even true. Like, people that even believe 90% of the mainstream media narrative might have 5% that they disagree with and feel like they can't speak their truth against that 5%, whatever it is. So there's such a wide range and spectrum of people's truths, whether it's on one side or the other.
There's no neutrality
in there. And for people to feel like they just can't say what they want or they feel doesn't help anyone progress in any sense.
Truly, it makes me sad.
I know.
That makes me really sad. Susie Petit said something. I wrote it down in our interview the other day, or it was last week's interview, but basically she told a story, and like the point of the story was that at the core of spirituality is understanding how you create every experience that you experience. And I thought that was so true and profound. And just in this context, it's like, it's going back to that self-responsibility and that discernment and that sovereignty, and just being like, in your everyday, rather than the blame or like figuring out who you can go against. It's like, how did I create this experience that I'm experiencing right now in this moment? Usually it's like that feeling and you can kind of pick it apart, but I thought that was really beautiful. That's a good one. That's a good question. Yeah. Brave question.
We feel you.
Thanks so much.
Yeah. Peace and love.
Peace and love. Today's episode, this has been a long time in the making.
Long time. We had the first one we recorded at January of last year.
Yes.
Or January of 2020. So the beginning of this year.
Oh, yeah.
In
Deer Valley. I was like, whoever says it first wins.
Yes, Deer Valley.
Yeah.
We were in Deer Valley, which was incredible. It was January of 2020, and it was Laticia, Millana, Lindsey, and myself, and we got to just experience this beautiful weekend. It was incredible. I had the best time.
It was so fun.
We were in this beautiful cabin at the base of a mountain, and we went skiing, we did snowshoeing, we did acro yoga. We had amazing meals. We went to the spa. It just was such a great weekend, and I couldn't recommend Deer Valley enough for a trip, for a bachelorette, for a romantic weekend.
It was so cozy, and like everything was right there. You didn't really have to go very far, so you could be set up for skiing for the day or snowshoeing or what have you, and it was so fun.
The snow was beautiful. Utah is so beautiful. I don't know if Utah slept on, but I think I've always thought it is, like, over Denver. I love Denver, but
yeah,
I think Utah's got a little bit more.
It's cool. It's
Don't
beautiful.
be mad at me, but it's beautiful and clean. The air is freaking crisp. Yeah, it just was everything in one place, and we had the best time.
But then the audio didn't work on that
interview.
audio
didn't work.
Okay.
Which was fine.
We're still beginners there.
Yes.
But as always, it always works out for the better, and I feel like this year was obviously such a growth moment for all of us, all four of us. So it was kind of cool to end the year and reflect with our BFFs.
Yeah. And we were staying at Hotel Pasea in Huntington Beach, which was really beautiful for this one. So these are like our friends that we just like to do everything with as much as we can. And so whenever we can, we like to travel with these gals in Hotel Pasea for the weekend to record and just be together and be in community with women was like really beautiful.
And I found like in this conversation, we go a lot of different places, but just generally speaking, there was just a lot of different like perspectives. It wasn't all just like agreeing with each other. It was like, it was cool. It was like a ping pong of like, no, like I see this in you.
Dude.
It was cool. I liked it.
I loved it. I just always laugh because it's like, I feel like sometimes my experience is always the most extreme. Like,
Totally.
Dude, like when we had the event or the team thing, everyone was like, talk about your embarrassing moment. And everyone's like, oh my God, one time in high school, I tripped up the stairs. I was like, one time I got caught shoplifting and had to pick up trash on the side of the road for 3 months in like a jumpsuit with these like it was like, mine are always just
and there are crickets and we're like,
yeah, literally everyone on the team was like, what? And this was another one where I was like, I've been like accosted by women. I've been like, I mean, the amount of attack that I've had on me because of women, or it's been brought into my experience, has been insane.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy. I didn't know it was like not normal.
Has that been, I mean, I've talked to you about it, but like just in terms of knowing that you started therapy, is that something that you have talked about?
God, I mean, we're just in therapy. It's just so much. I'm like, where do I even start? We've been working on the truth thing, being in my truth. The female friendships thing. I've done a lot of healing on that just in general in my conscious living by focusing on myself.
Totally.
And then my experiences with women are changing. And so that's, and, you know, so that's really what I've focused on is just changing who I am. And then my relationships are really reflecting that. But I will do some sort of like healing around females and just everything like that. But I'm sure so many people have had, you know, interesting experiences.
Yeah. Even in that, thinking about like healing that, I'm like, I don't know. There's this like for me, because I've had some experiences like in middle school, high school, and I'm just like, there's almost still that residue of like just resent and like, okay, like I don't know, like I don't want to go there, I guess. And also I just have like beautiful friendships, female friendships right now, and I feel so grateful. So it's almost like I don't want to go there and then like fuck with what I've got. But maybe it'll make it deeper. Who knows?
Totally.
But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if we think about, I just think about how important it has been to me and how, you know, special it feels now, like at this period in my life. It's like, I was on with this healer yesterday, Manuela. She's been working with Danielle Page, and I was like talking to her, and I just had the realization of like the importance of the match for me with friends and how this year I feel super proud of who my friends are, super inspired by them. I feel like all of them are an up level to me, which is a good thing. You know, it's not like I feel less than, but it's like I feel just proud of the way that they show up, that they're in integrity, that they're doing their life's purpose for the most part, and that, you know, a lot of times they're just like change makers, which is like super inspiring to be around.
Yeah. Just such a reflection of like what you've worked on within yourself. It's just like as we do that work, like everything starts to, because if I think about myself in like high school or even college, I'm like, didn't know myself, didn't really know my friends.
Wasn't really happy. Yeah, honestly.
Really
watched Housewives every night. No shade to Housewives, but
it's true. But this one's a really special one. Last episode of the year. I mean, we've done how many episodes this year? About 100, say? Just about 2 every week.
Yeah.
For about 50 weeks. So, you know, it's always truly an honor to like create this for you guys, and just to feel like, you know, it touches you in whatever way that it touches you or makes you laugh. And yeah, we feel really, really lucky and are excited as ever to just continue serving you guys in new ways, exciting ways in the new year. We've been working really hard to create a space that is unique and supportive and safe, and a place where you can just be you
and speak
learn.
Your truth.
Yeah, speak your truth and just learn and grow and support one another. It's gonna be amazing. So that'll be coming later in January. You'll hear about it.
Yeah, just thank you guys so much for being with us this year, for, you know, growing with us, for seeing us through, you know, just some really hard times, you know, this year. And we really appreciate just who you guys are and how you show up. And I've seen even our growth reflected in our community. Like the people that interact with and listen are just so cool. And like, I feel like I'm messaging with friends when I'm talking to you guys every single day. So excited. And this episode is with Millana Snow and Laticia Rolle. So they're 2 of our dearest friends. You guys know Millana Snow if you are an Almost 30 OG. Millana's been on tour with us. She's been to London with us. She's been to New York, all over the world for some healing sessions that we did live when we were on tour. And we've had episodes with Millana as well. So you can listen to another episode with Millana and both Laticia.
Yeah.
If you're interested to hear more. And Laticia has been our friend for like 2 years now, maybe a little over. And she's someone who we met and immediately fell in love with and just feel so deeply connected to her and have seen her completely just transform her life in the past year. So both of these women are women that we truly look up to, are the real deal, are super heart-centered, are as deep and interesting as they are beautiful, and are just really people that we're excited to bring in community with you guys.
Yeah. And just an aside, Millana is the founder of Wellness Official, and Laticia has a podcast herself. It's called Girl, We Got This. It's an incredible show. And she also founded Tress, which is a hat brand, and now scrunchies for textured hair. So just badasses, whatever.
Yeah, just beautiful,
The
badass,
best.
just whatever.
But this is such a fun one. Please share with your girlfriends, pass it along, and we can't wait to connect with you more. So enjoy this episode. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
We love ya,
We love ya.
and we'll see you on the other side.
We'll see you soon.
The club is full of ballers and they pockets full of
Ladies,
grump.
leave your man with your friends.
yeah.
So they can have a five-some. Ladies, leave your man with your friends.
G.
Oh my
What was
God.
that? Was that the song that you were pumping when you would go out with your girlfriends, or what were you pumping?
Destiny's Child.
Dude, I used to pump like Ace Hood, Bugatti.
You would.
Dude, bands and make her dance.
Word.
I was like, whatever was hard.
Or like Nicki Minaj was a good thing.
Nicki's
too.
a good
wow.
one.
T.I. was
Like,
actually
first
really
album.
cool too then.
I-
I used to really
That was like in
really-
high school though.
Yeah.
Expeditiously.
That was
Yeah.
sick.
I like T.I.
When were you
not
going to the
anymore.
club?
Ja Rule?
I was going to the club.
No, that was
Yeah,
just me.
same.
I
That was
love
just me
Ja
in
Rule.
Bucks County.
I think Ja Rule is the best. It's really good lip syncing for
Ja
Ja
Rule?
Rule.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know
What-
every
like
word
what?
to every rap song.
Like what? What song? I can't even.
Oh, yeah,
think.
that's a
Baby
good
girl,
one.
put it on. Where would I be without you?
What would I be
without you?
I only think about you.
I
I know you're tired of being lonely.
What song? Like what rapper do you know every song to? Like every lyric.
A lot.
I don't know.
I had young parents, so like all they had was that in the car. So
Really?
That's fun.
I know every
Mine
word
might
to
be
every
like
song.
Young Jeezy.
Ooh.
I had a Young Jeezy face.
Oh my god,
Yo.
I forgot about Young Jeezy.
Thug Motivation 101
Yes.
was like my shit.
Oh, actually, when I
In
first moved
Ohio.
to New York, it was 50 Cent.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Like
50 was so good.
2007.
I never liked 50. Everyone did. I never did.
I don't
No.
like him actually.
He's
loved
something
him when he
about
first
him.
came out.
Yeah.
I was also
Obnoxious.
like 18.
While y'all were
Totally.
doing that, I was memorizing Shania Twain's album.
I
Oh,
I love Shania.
country girl.
I do love
What's Shania's? What's her number one song?
Man, it feels like a woman.
But I was, because I was the oldest, I couldn't have like
Let's
fucking
go,
dirty
girls.
music in the car.
Really?
Do you know what I mean? Like we weren't like, I didn't have like older siblings to be like, this is what we listen to. I was
But
like,
you're the older sibling.
exactly. And I
You're the
couldn't
one that
have like
sets the bad
curse word
example.
music. So I was like, all right, Shania it is.
It is weird. I am
Yeah.
getting older. The curse words make me cringe a little now. It's so weird.
Yeah.
Like when I'm in like where I go to this when I go to a workout class and they're like saying bad words, I'm
Same.
like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Same, especially if it's about women.
Oh,
In
yeah.
my gym, I'm literally like, turn this off.
Same.
It's horrible. Totally.
It's so weird. And we used to remember in like 8th grade, those like songs that would be out, you would like sing it.
Yeah.
Like what kind of songs? You know, also too, I was thinking about more lately is how. Who was I talking to? I was talking to someone about something. But a lot of times when you're going through like past lives or you're going through like programming, like deprogramming yourself so you can like reprogram your subconscious for abundance or whatever. A lot of times that when they go that deep, they find songs deep into your subconscious. And what was the one song the healer said that they found? They said that they found Mo Money, More Problems deep in their subconscious, so they didn't have a good relationship with money. It wasn't that specific, complete tie. But when we think about the programming of
Yeah.
songs like
Oh.
that, like
Oh,
think
yeah.
about you saying Mo Money, More Problems forever.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah. That'd
That's
make
not
you
really
not want to
nice.
make money, or it'd make you feel like you need to protect and hoard it.
yes.
Yeah.
Isn't that weird how all of those songs were so, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of Like what was like
Back
Britney
that ass
Spears
up.
and Christina Aguilera singing about that like would be a programming. Hit me,
baby.
baby, one more time.
Yes.
Jesus
I'm a
Christ.
slave.
Yes,
you.
I'm a slave
Oh
for
my
you.
God.
I'm a slave
I
for the
can't
record
deny
industry.
it.
Yeah.
God, that's disrespectful.
I'm not trying. Or Dirty. What was Christina Aguilera's?
Yeah.
Gonna get naughty.
Oh,
Yeah.
Low
They were all-
rise.
Well, I'm so glad to be with you guys. We love being here. We love being with you.
I love you.
I love you.
Always.
It's so crazy because I remember the other one we recorded last year, January. Or was it this year? This year. Whoa. We recorded
Dude.
this year in 2020 in
Yeah,
January.
it's almost a
before
year ago.
Everything happened. We were in Park City,
Yep.
Utah, and we recorded a full episode, and it didn't save. And it was crazy because I was like crying.
You cried about that?
Yeah. No,
No,
I didn't
no,
cry
no.
about the sound. I was crying in the episode.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was deep.
That was
that
a
was deep.
really deep share.
That was so
Yeah.
deep.
But you
So do
shared
it
a lot of
again.
that by
I
now,
know. Hold on.
right? I feel like you've shared a lot. from
Yeah.
I
that
share about
moment,
that. It was
right?
about body stuff. Yeah, just feeling
Yeah.
uncomfortable. Because I will say that is hard being all my friends are always so gorgeous. We're not talking about this in the episode, but it is like being friends with models isn't always like the best. It's the best, but also it's like you're with people that are so beautiful all the time. You're like, what? Like, what am I? I don't know. It is kind of a mind fuck sometimes.
Yeah, but you're
with all
so
my
beautiful
friends.
Yeah, I was
too.
gonna say that's so interesting to hear you say that.
Because
Yeah.
you have the most beautiful face and beautiful skin I've ever seen.
Yeah, and hair and boobs.
Anyways.
I mean,
Okay.
just
It's true.
teeth.
But I also think like you know whether it's having beautiful friends or even just like really talented, successful people around
Yes.
you all the time, while it's like the most inspiring for me, it is a practice to be like I am also really talented, and you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like because you can kind of get caught up in the comparison of I'm not as blank as
Yeah.
she is or whatever. But what's cool about especially our relationships, it's like always the pump up, always the support.
The pump up.
And
100%.
and so I can't be caught in that loop for too long.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah, there's
Oh,
nothing
alright.
but love here.
Yes.
Yeah,
the
definitely.
best.
it is cool. I always feel like I can't believe I'm at a point where I'm friends with people I'm like genuinely proud of. Like I've always been proud of my friends, but not like proud in the way that I am now. And I never knew, like, when we're together and we're talking about things, it's so clear. Like I feel so clear. There's never judgment. There's never anything but love. Like it's all love, you know, especially when we're talking about business or money or anything. We just say everything so openly. And I just remember growing up, it was always like, there's always like something in the background, it felt like, whether it was like insecurity, jealousy, or between, you know, anyone in the group. Or you'd leave the room and people would talk bad about you or something like that. And I never thought it would be possible to like be in a friendship situation with people that just were genuinely supportive and loving all the time.
Totally.
Which is powerful.
Yeah,
So
no.
powerful.
You know, when we had my birthday a couple months ago, it was 2 months ago now. That night was just so cool to look around and see like, wow, everybody's like so beautiful.
Yes.
And so sweet and thoughtful and incredible. So yeah, I think, and especially just having this this girls' weekend, it's like a really great reminder of like, wow, this is where I am in my life, that I get to even do things like this, that the people that I genuinely click with are these people. Wow.
Did you always, what was like your growing up, like relationship, especially with women?
Ooh, we just went right there.
Yeah, sorry.
Well, you know, I moved a lot as a kid, so I didn't get to really have friends longer than like a couple of years, which was very painful. And I'm a very social person, so I desperately wanted girlfriend connection, and I always got it, but I had the consistent experience of that ending abruptly without me being able to do anything about it. So ironically, I think when I got older, I attracted a lot of relationships that mirrored that, where I'd have really, really tight bonds, and then something abrupt and, in my mind, unjust would happen, and that would kind of create that same pattern. So, yeah. What about you guys?
What about you, T?
I mean, I think what we're talking about right now, it's really all about us, ourselves, right? Because it wasn't until I started vibrating at a higher level, at this level where I'm at now in my life, was when I got to really experience true friendship and solid friendship and empowering friendship and women that really support me and truly love me. It all started with me, because I think about it when I was younger. I mean, I loved girls because I was an athlete. I played basketball, I played soccer, I was a pitcher. Like, girls were my thing. Like, I loved women. They were on my team. I know how to lose with women. I used to cry on the mound. I used to, like, win championships with women. So, like, I loved women growing up. But, I mean, I also dealt with a lot of enviousness, like, envy and, like, jealousy, because I was always pretty, right? So, like, they're like, oh, you can't play sports. And, like, it was always drama, but it was never with my team. It was always, like, on the outside. So it never really affected me with the women that I was with. So, growing up, like, in my youth, I loved girls.
Can I just say, like, did you guys just notice how smoothly and easily she acknowledged her beauty?
Yes, and I love
That's
that.
something
Dude,
that
it's
she
iconic.
does. I know.
It's my favorite.
It's so interesting because I have a really hard time doing that.
Really?
Yeah.
I think it's something that you have to learn over time, because being so beautiful intimidates so many people, so we make ourselves small, and we cower. And I think a lot of females do that too, and I think it's about oppression too, like how they oppress women, because if we really step into all of what we truly the fuck are, we would fucking run the world, right?
Really. I feel like it's gotten me in more trouble by not acknowledging it and
Yeah.
by trying to pretend that I don't even recognize it about myself.
Like, what's an example?
I literally don't know when people are jealous of me. I cannot see that. I literally can't see that because I don't imagine that people would be. I don't understand. Even though I obviously have experienced the feeling of jealousy, I can't see that someone would be jealous because I don't see myself in that way. So it's really, and it's really put me in some bad positions.
That's intriguing to me, Millie.
Yeah.
Because I've dealt with that all my life. I mean, I had girls that were friends with me just because I was pretty. Because the guys I would attract, or
That's
like
like me
things I
right
was
now.
able to do.
That's literally why we're all here.
Actually, this is actually a photo shoot for our new brand.
But there's truly nothing better than, like, because I think what we feel about ourselves, like, our friends, like, almost hope that we own that and illuminate that, or the people that we love, that love us the most, our partners, our friends, like, almost just like hope. At least that's who I'm surrounding myself with now, that we just really own that. So for you to say that, I felt what you just felt.
Like,
when you just felt, it was like, yes.
You have to honor yourself.
Yeah. And like acknowledge what's real.
Yeah. I was thinking about I've been thinking about the energetics of like Kim Kardashian's beauty a lot lately, and how she has this, like, there's just like a powerful energetics of the Kardashians that I think it's otherworldly. But also with Kim Kardashian's beauty, it's like so many people think she's beautiful and she thinks she's beautiful. So every time you're watching her, you think she's beautiful. And it's just this like energetics of believing and seeing this beauty that is just so crazy. But what was I going to say about? So I was going to say something else, obviously.
But she is like the perfect example of owning her femininity.
Owning
she owns
it.
her power.
Oh, but with jealousy.
Yeah.
So with jealousy, it's been interesting because I'm like, what if I tried that on? So I've been trying that energy on of being like, I'm beautiful, like kind of being in that. And I was kind of doing that the other day, and I felt someone seeing that I was beautiful, and it almost made me feel bad. I was like, I noticed how it made me feel bad. I was like, oh, it made me sad because I wonder if they're worried that they're not beautiful. And I like caught myself thinking that. And I know I've done that. I did that when I was like younger, because I always felt like my mom would always watch me and look at me and be not jealous of me, but kind of envious of me at times. And I always remember being like, oh my God, this is bad. Like, they're feeling bad because they don't look like me. And it was so weird. I was like just catching that for the first time in my whole life. I was like, whoa, like I definitely don't want people to feel bad because I'm beautiful, and I'm sort of trying to not be beautiful because sometimes it makes people feel bad. Isn't that weird?
Yeah, but you can't do that, Chris.
I
You can't
know.
live your life worrying about other people's feelings. That they're not your responsibility.
I know.
Their feelings are their responsibility.
I think this does come down to something much deeper. Our moms.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to speak to your mom, but I know in my household, I was literally told not to wear sparkles, not to wear heels, not to be prettier than my friends because it was not fair to them.
Wow.
Like, you know, that was just, yeah, that was the kind of stuff that I was told. Like, you're too tall and your hair's too big. So, like, pull your hair back and take those heels off because you're going to make people feel bad. But I don't think that I actually would have thought those things had I not been told that that was what reality is. So I wonder if those ideas come from what we were programmed to believe about ourselves and where we fit in the fabric of humanity.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
By like patriarchy type vibe.
Or just, you know, in my case, like it wasn't just the patriarchy. Maybe it was my mom who ingested the patriarchy. But like, you know, I think in a lot of ways they were afraid of their bigness, my parents. And so like the idea of me, like you were saying about your mom, it's like the idea of me wearing, like I will never forget this. I had the sparkly belt that my stepdad told me, take that off because you're going to make people feel embarrassed walking around with you. And I was like, a sparkly belt? Like, I'm 14. Like, this is cool, you know? And I think it's that kind of like fear of being seen by the people who raise us. And I'm curious, Laticia, if maybe you didn't have that. Like if people in your family programmed you to see how beautiful you were and enjoy it. No. So how did you get to that?
My dad didn't let us wear nail polish. We couldn't shave. We couldn't wear nail polish. We couldn't wear makeup. I didn't even know how to put on makeup when I got to college because my dad didn't allow us. And all my father did was actually describe me being beautiful as the inside. So he taught us growing up, beauty only comes from the inside. And if we did anything that was inappropriate, he would call us ugly. So I actually never acknowledged my outer beauty until later on in life.
Wow.
But there had to come to a point where I had to deprogram what I was taught and raised because I remember everybody was, oh, your eyes, oh, you should model. And then I started modeling. Then I started working. And then I was like, I do have a beautiful inside. I know I'm a really good person because that's how I was raised by my father. And I'm thankful for that. And me and my dad actually had this talk and he apologized. And I said, you know, Dad, he has 2 new daughters now that are babies. And I said, I think it's so cool that you raised me to be a beautiful person on the inside, but please tell your daughters how beautiful they are on the outside. So they know. They know. And stepping into my beauty was the most powerful fucking thing I did. Wow. And I'll never, ever apologize for my beauty ever again for the rest of my life. This is a gift.
There's actually really something that just made me think, like, there is something powerful to having the father figure in your life recognize that beauty in a way that is like, just honoring it.
Yeah.
And I think it definitely has an effect on how you perceive how maybe men see you later in life. Like my dad never talked about like our looks, but I think he was doing that out of respect. Like, I'm not going to comment on your looks. And I'm sure your dad had that same feeling of like inner beauty.
Yeah.
But it's really interesting to think about, you know, if I'm thinking about like, if my dad said to me, you're just so beautiful, like how that would feel.
Yeah.
For sure.
You know, it's like a different, it's like,
I'm like bye, Dad. I love you. I'll talk to you later. I love you so much. All right. See ya. All right.
Same. I mean, same.
It is so
like they love us so much. And like
Yes.
the way they express it is really, it's just so interesting.
Yeah.
But you know what I think? I think, well, I know because I talked to my dad about this. Fathers fear what other men feel about their daughters. Fathers are men. Take the dad out of it. They're a man. They know what other men feel. They know what other men are doing. They know what other men are seeing when they see their beautiful daughters. So my father was in fear of what other men, like he wouldn't even allow me to have boys call the house. He was so worried about my beauty because he said, Laticia, I'd go to a mall and heads would turn with you and your sisters. Like people would stare at you all the time. Like I saw how much attention you would get, and that scared me as your father. As a man, my job is to protect you, and your beauty was so powerful, and I saw it as a young, and my dad's young. He was a young father, and I saw it, and I had to protect you, and that's how he protected me.
Wow.
You know? And I think by having a dialogue like this with your father will really help you. I mean, if you're able to. I am grateful that my dad was open to have this conversation because it expanded my mind.
See, I did
to
not
understand this.
have any of those. Like, I do not have a good relationship with my stepdad at all, and I barely know my biological dad. And so when I stopped playing basketball, which I pretty much stopped because I needed to go make money so I could pay for my own things at 16. And I remember I was working at a clothing store at the mall, and for the first time in my life, people would literally stop me multiple times a job day saying, "Oh my God, you're beautiful. You should model," over and over and over. And it was shocking. I was 16 and I'd be like, what? And so then when I finally had money, I'd start buying clothes and start getting my hair done. And within literally 6 months, I was like, oh, this is how I'm going to get out. This is how I'm going to get out of my parents' house, because I had a very abusive home. And literally I was like, if people keep saying this to me, then this is my way out of here. And that's legit one of the reasons why I started modeling. But that was the only, I literally remember being at the mall at 16 and being confused because nobody had ever said that to me. And then as I like would do more to my clothes, more to my hair, I'd be like, oh, this is doing something and I'm going to use this. And I think in some ways there's, like a reluctance about that for me now, because like for me that was a survival tactic and that was a very, very tough time for me.
I'm proud of you. That's a lot of courage.
I mean, that is, to be in survival mode at that age is really a lot.
It really is
A lot.
And it's kind of like a gift that these people saw this beauty in you because they allowed you to find your escape, right? Like what a gift that is for people. And I think that's so powerful. Like even like with our friends, like with us, because like when we doubt each other, or like when we don't know how beautiful we are, there are people that see what you don't see in yourself, and then you become what you became.
Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah.
It is crazy to think about like the evolution of female friendships too, and how when you're younger and then in 8th grade and like high school and college, how it's just, I remember it being so like enmeshed. Like it was like we were together spending the night all the time, like together 24/7. And I remember my first like trauma of female friends is so silly, but it was like I was going to nature camp with Lindsey and Allie, these two girls, and I get in the car and it's like our first day of nature camp. Allie was like my best friend for a long time. You know, I was like so young. And Allie and Lindsey had hung out more over that summer and they became best friends. So I got in the car and I was like completely on the outs. I was like talking. I remember trying to talk to them and they were like, you know, like over it. And I literally was like, what did I do? And it was that feeling of like rejection and trauma. And like, I've always had the feeling with women where it was like, I never knew when they were going to turn. And I always got that too with like my mom. It was like, I never knew when she was going to turn. And so a lot of that carried through, I'm sure for you guys too, like in 8th grade and high school, it was like women were awesome and I loved them, but it never felt like easy or totally comfortable. And then being older, it's been like, it's just gotten better and better, but it's gotten better and better as I've loved myself more, as I've been more of myself, as you raise your standards, as you raise like your vibration and really figure out what sort of friend you're even looking for and like what you deserve.
100%.
I have a friend who I went to high school with who actually lives in Laguna. And in the past couple of years, she's helped me see my high school years differently, because she would say to me, yeah, when all those girls would bully you. And I was like, wait, what? And then the past like 2 years, I've really had long, deep talks with her. And it really made me realize that I was bullied my entire high school.
Same.
Wow.
You too?
Yeah. I remember when I was going into 9th grade, I was at this thing and they poured like dip spit all over my hair. It was like a bucket of like dip spit. It was like so intense. And then it was all freshman year. It was like yelling in the hallways. Like anywhere I went. Like, I think I almost got in a fight with someone my freshman year.
Same.
Yeah.
Were you new?
No, I wasn't a slut, but I was dating like a lot of older guys. I had tons of attention from older guys from when I was in 8th grade. Like even like all the seniors when I was in 8th grade would come over to my house and like hang out with my sister and then hang out with me. And then freshman year I just would date and kind of hang out with the wrong type of popular guys being so young, and just everyone hated me for it, but kind of deserved it in a way because I was like a little bit.
Wow.
You definitely did
No,
not
you didn't
deserve
deserve
to
it,
be
but-
bullied.
Yeah.
You mean everybody was jealous because they weren't hanging out with the older kids?
Yeah.
'Cause that's what it sounds like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. But it was just pretty
That's
much
so
that.
mean.
Yeah. It was crazy. I remember one time I was like, yeah, it was just everywhere. And then one time we had in our car, someone drove a car all the way across our lawn and left like tire tracks on our lawn. We had our house was like TP'd.
Jeez.
Yeah, it was crazy. They would leave like voicemails. Yeah, it's been bad. But
Who
yeah,
are
so
these kids' parents?
I know it's Ohio.
Totally.
It's Ohio.
I mean, it happened in Houston,
Yeah.
Texas too.
Yeah,
I feel
know.
like
What
it's
was
just the
yours?
American experience
so
for a
you
lot
said-
of young girls.
You said you
honestly.
didn't realize, or you did realize, but
Well, I was always a new person everywhere I went,
Yeah.
I got it.
all the time.
Mm.
So I was used to being treated like that.
Got it.
Wow.
And looking back, I realized that all throughout middle school, I was bullied. Then high school, I was bullied. But I just thought that was like kind of how it went until I realized recently that not everybody else was treated that way. You know, like you, I remember when my hair would be straight, girls would try to pour water on my hair, or girls would corner me in the hallways and like try to, beat me up or say they're waiting for me, and then like they would never show up. I mean, just all kinds of things. Yeah, I definitely had a lot of really tough times. But I also, in middle school, I went to 2 middle schools. I had my second middle school, I had a really close best friend. And then when I went to high school, I had a close best friend. And those 2 relationships really like held me over. But I was very used to being alone, but I loved girls. It was just that it wasn't always returned. Yeah.
And when you're in that like survival mode, it's just, you just do anything you can to like go from one day to the next, and it's not like there
I had
isn't
bigger problems.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean.
I had to go home. That was way worse
Yeah.
than anything that would happen at school.
Exactly.
So it was just like, okay, you guys are writing Millana's ugly on the chalkboard. Like, okay, that's not that bad.
God, I know that it's kind of, I know we normalize it, but thinking about raising a kid that would do that is like, what? Like what's the psychology of that type of cruelness? Because I'm not perfect at all, but I've never done, like I would never do that.
And how do we like intervene in schools? How does this truly go on? Like it does? It feels like, is it just so out of control that the teachers could never, is there something we could teach in school or facilitate in school so that people see each other as like other human beings who are going through things, who have, you know what I mean? Like, how do we change that? Because it just feels,
I feel like it's maybe worse with social media. It's probably moved
I can't even
from
imagine.
like ours. We were like almost on AOL.
Dude.
So it was like AOL stuff was sort of happening, that kind of like whatever. And now it's probably just like
10
in
times
DMs,
worse.
fake accounts, like
Gosh.
so like
TikTok
TikTok stuff.
Oh my
like,
God, dude.
I mean, that's probably where it's focused, because I feel like when you're that young, it's like all about coolness and looks for some reason. Like it wasn't about like, it just wasn't always about the right things. It wasn't about someone if they're being themselves or,
Totally.
the way that people judged people that were different. It's just, it's hard. I mean, I wish that someone would have told me how hard 7th and 8th grade was. I don't know if that was
that was my
word.
hardest
the
year.
hardest years. Was yours hard too?
I don't even remember 7th and 8th
I
grade,
know.
to be honest. I just remember I was in love with this kid named Kevin Flanagan.
It sounds like a real Boston name.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God.
Where is he
That's all I
today?
remember.
Are you Facebook friends with him?
No, bro, but I found out he's in Vegas.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Let's hit
he's
him
in
up.
Vegas. No, I got a man now.
I got it.
Did you guys have any like really hard breakups with friends, like where you were like really close with a friend
Mm-hmm.
and you guys had to split?
Oh
Yeah.
God, yeah.
I had a hard breakup, but then we came back together.
Oh, you did.
Yeah, Camille, she's my best friend. She lives in Atlanta. We had a breakup, but it was in my adult life. This was probably like 6 years ago, where I was in a really toxic space. I was in a toxic relationship, living a different life. I was not the Laticia that I am today. I wasn't the Laticia that she met. I don't even know who that girl was now looking back at her, but I was not healthy. And she had got married, and in my head, I was like, why is she getting married? But I would never question somebody's marriage, right? So she gets married. They end up getting divorced, and I wasn't there for her because my parents were going through a divorce. So I was going through it, and I wasn't there for her, and she wasn't there for me. Long story short, we didn't talk for like months, and that was like my ride or die. That was like my dog, like my right hand, and like I was like missing her, and I was like, what happened? Like, but I couldn't hold space for her.
Yeah.
I couldn't, and she couldn't hold space for me, and we just lost connection. And then I'll never forget, she hit me up, and she was like, do you want to grab lunch? And I was like, yeah. We went to Shake Shack in Buckhead, and we talked, and it was so weird but so refreshing.
Yeah.
To feel her again, to see her again, and to feel her pain and me not being there for her. I felt like shit. Like, I cried. And I was like, damn. But then I had to understand, like, I wasn't in a space to hold it. I was going through my own shit, too. I mean, long story short, that I think breaking up with a friend is worse than breaking up with a dude because that shit hurt bad. But she's back in my life, and it's the best ever, you know?
Yeah.
But heartbreak friendships are hard.
What about you, T? Latish, Millie.
Try again.
Oh my God, you guys, I've had a lot.
Mm.
I've had a lot. Yeah, I was just thinking as you were asking, I'm like, wow, I've had so many. And it's really interesting. I actually, Crystal and Jasmine and I have talked about this, and I haven't really ever worked with any, like, I've never talked through this out loud until them a couple weeks ago. I had a reoccurring, like, pattern of wondering what did I do and how did I deserve to be treated that way, like a very victim mentality of like literally being like, wait, why did you steal from me? I mean, sometimes it would actually be like really messed up stuff, but like, but it was like reoccurring, like, whoa, okay, this doesn't make sense. I've had like I've had 4 adult relationships where I literally either had to walk away because something so bad had happened, or it was just like a situation where I was like, this is so toxic that like we can't do this anymore, and we would peacefully break it off. But yeah, I've had a lot, actually. It's really, really weird. One of them that came to mind when you were talking, Laticia, is that a couple of years ago in New York, I was really good friends with a woman who started a natural curly YouTube channel when YouTube like just started to pop off, and I was modeling, and I had just gotten on Project Runway, and my Project Runway stuff was really taking off, and her stuff on YouTube was really taking off, and we decided to do a channel together, and everything was like super great, and I was making a lot of money, and she was like doing pretty good and starting to make money. And I remember I wanted to help her with her autistic son, and so I said, let's start a foundation to like raise money for you to help, you know, raise him and all that stuff. And our channel was doing really well, and then I just remember one day she was like, hey, we're gonna have a conversation with my new manager. And I was like, okay, cool. And her new manager was like, hey, so that foundation that you guys started, like, you're not gonna be a part of it anymore. And like, also, she's not gonna be doing this channel that you guys have, which was doing really well. We had like 25,000 subscribers in like 3 months, and literally was like, yeah, so like all of that stuff, like, she's not doing that with you anymore. And it was basically that whole thing of me talking to her manager was so that she could break off all the business and take it for herself. And I remember being just absolutely completely gutted.
Wow.
And in the years that followed, she's actually a really big YouTuber, Instagram. I've never even told you guys this before. And people who watch that channel, they know who I'm talking about, but other people
now it's been so long they don't know who I'm talking about, but it was really, really crazy because I never could really say anything because we didn't have Instagram. I wasn't really on YouTube except for with her. And it was just a really heartbreaking experience. And then I would see her completely blow up after that. And like, it just, that was like one of those adult relationships where I literally was like, what did I do to deserve that?
Yeah.
And I honestly, I have to say, after talking to Crystal and Jasmine really deeply about this and like crying about it, it's directly related to my relationship with my mom. And that question of how did I deserve this is literally the thing that I would say all the time as a kid. And then I would create relationships like that with women as I became an adult.
And when you said something about like toxic friendships that, and I want to ask Lindsey too, but and then I want to explain mine, but I also want to just highlight, like, what are signs that you know a friendship is getting toxic? Like for you guys, like if you were to, move on from a friend, what would be a sign that you think it's time?
I mean, now I'm very easy. Like, if you're doing shit that doesn't make me feel good, I'm not fucking with you anymore. It's that simple for me.
Totally.
Like, if I know who I am now, and it's not until you know yourself, which takes a long time and a lot of work, until you get to that point and you allow people to treat you certain ways. You allow yourself to deal with people because of you feel bad or you're worried about their feelings or no. If somebody's doing something that doesn't flow with me, that doesn't agree with my morals and my values, that's not my person. And I don't want to align with anything that doesn't align with me. So I'm really easy nowadays. Back then, though, it wasn't. It was hard.
I had a tendency to overgive. To like, as a healer, I have always really had to be mindful of how I want to heal and help everyone because I can see things. And I would say in the past 2 years, I've really had to take that back in and really recognize that is destructive and self-harming. And it's a crutch for people. And so for me, it's like when I notice that I'm constantly giving and pouring in, then something is off. If it's like, at least for me, I know that's a pattern for me. I will give, pour out. And if I'm doing that, then something is off. And so I think, at least for me, that's one of the main signs.
Can I give you a hint to help you with that?
Please.
So with my therapist, I worked on that because I give all the time freely. So giving and receiving. So you have your week, right? And the people in your life. And after your week is done or day to day, you put G when you give and R when you receive. To the people and who you're giving to, who you're receiving from, what you're doing day to day, what you're giving, what you're receiving from. So at the end of the week, you can see how much you're giving and how much you're receiving and from who. And then it's up to you to balance that. And it's up to you to say, well, I'm giving way too much this week. Like I have to actually give back to self or I'm receiving finally. You know, I think learning how to receive too is actually a practice.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
I think like the judgment piece too, like I feel, and maybe it is like just this thought of I would never do that, say that, feel that, whatever. So it's kind of hard. But if in a friendship there's a judgment without love, or it's judgment from a place of insecurity or lack or just like it doesn't feel good. I've definitely had people give me fucking truth and it comes from their heart and I'm like, ow, but I'm like, thank you. Okay. But when it's from a place of I know they're hurting and it's like just a little jab, I'm like,
Totally.
I don't have time for that. I don't necessarily have the words to be like super, or I haven't yet had the words for people to be direct and be like, you know, where's this coming from? Is this really about me? But yeah, I don't stick around for that. It's like not.
Yeah,
It's
that was
not
my thing this
productive.
summer. You know,
yeah.
my situation. I think I told you guys about this summer when just really hard times this summer, and having someone that was close to me like judge me and how I acted in a really hard situation was like, whoa. I was like, yo. And that was that feeling of like, what? I'm trying to think of what I can relate that feeling to, but it's like, it is not safe. Of like, when you feel like you can just say whatever the fuck, and someone is gonna like bring it back to you, or like bring it back up, or like I've always said, like, honestly, people could say whatever the fuck. My friends could say whatever the fuck. Truly. Yeah. Truly. I know their hearts. I know their souls. I know what they're about. And of course, if something didn't sit right with me, I would definitely have a moment with it and be like, does that sit right? Oh, I know their hearts. You know what I mean? I'm beyond that. And that was the summer, having someone judge me and then use it like against me during a time when I was like really going through something, and use it as something that was positioned as like, I'm just being honest. You know, I'm just being honest. That whole like, I'm just being honest thing. I want to be honest with you. I'm like, no, that's ego. That's not.
I was just going to say like the whole, and I've said this before, but like, I'm just being honest, or to be honest. I want to be careful. Sean always like catches me when I say that. He's like, so like, you're not being honest any other time. And I'm like, LOL. Okay. But like, it's true. Your words are powerful.
Yeah.
And it, like, that has a charge to it when you say, I'm just being honest.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, you know, it feels different.
Definitely.
Yeah. I know. I was thinking about it too. I was like, I've had really not a lot. I probably have 3, 4. I had one this year, and then I've had probably 4 in my life, and there's one that I think about a lot, because we were so close, and I loved her, and I respected her, and I loved her values, and it was something. It was just, I was changing so much. It was like literally like my split of like going to college and being in Ohio and being this person, and then going to Chicago and being this person, and then having like my awakening, like leaving my job, like going through that sexual harassment case, finding Justin, going to Patagonia, all these things. It was like, I just completely was like off the deep end, essentially. No one was like, everyone's like, what the fuck's going on? Like, we thought you were just going to go work at jobs, live in Chicago, be friends with us, go to the bar, have kids, and you know what I mean? That kind of thing. And I always like felt shame about that. I was like, fuck, I feel like a little guilty, because I was like, because it wasn't normal, but it's like what my heart wanted. And there's no way that in my life, I always think about with like female friendships when they end, it's like, I think about my capacity to love now is so much greater. It's like insane. But like sometimes my capacity to love like that friend and then like also have Justin or also have whatever, like wasn't even possible.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, wasn't even like in my realm of possibility.
On that, like having all of us have partners now, as of 2020. But yeah, it's like, how do you, I feel that it's very hard for me. It's very hard for me. I feel like you do a good job though, but
I think because I've been with Justin for so long.
Yeah.
And I really learned, I want to hear from you guys, but I really learned too. I was with my twin flame when I was like in high school and college, and we were fucking full on. And I lost, like, I didn't talk to anybody. I was like, this is it. You know, I was in high school. I'm like, and then I was in college. I'm like, this is it. Don't talk to anyone. Don't need friends. And I remember when we broke up, I was like, whoa, I literally put everything in that relationship. Everything. When I got dumped, I was so fucking lonely, man. I was like, dude, I can't do that. I can't do that. Like, that isn't it. And, you know, my mom too, subconsciously, my whole life was always like, you know, you need to have your own bank account. You know, you need to have your own friends. You got it, like, always like planting the seed of leaving. So she's a leaver. So she was always planting the seed of leaving. So that was something too that I eventually was like, maybe on the dark side that's fucked up, but also she's kind of right.
I don't think that's dark. I think that's actually
very
smart.
I think that's practical.
I think I would be grateful if my mother told me that, because guess what? Yeah, we would have had a house in Malibu by now if I did that. To be honest.
But have you ever got in relationship? Have you guys lost yourselves like ever and like not? Yeah.
I've lost myself every time. Honestly.
Did you lose friends?
Yeah. That's when I lost my best friend. When I was in the worst toxic relationship of my life, I lost my friends because I devoted myself to him. I lost myself willingly and wantingly, but I chose that. I chose to take care of him because I wanted him to do everything that he ever wanted to do, and I wanted to help him get there. But I wasn't loving myself through the madness. And then when it ended, I was like, who are you? Who am I? Like, what's in your bank account? You know what I mean? What's your resume? Your ex. Literally, that was my resume, my ex. You know what I mean? I'll never do that again for the rest of my life. I've lost myself too many times in relationships.
I haven't.
Really?
I have a totally different. Yeah,
Baller.
I've literally. I mean, I don't know if. Yeah, it just I've never had that experience. I also have only, prior to my boyfriend Justin, I've only had one other serious relationship, and we had a lot of really great friends, and we still, and him and I are still really close friends. So. Yeah, I don't know. I've actually never had that experience, but that also might be because I just never allowed myself to like be in like younger relationships. Like I literally have only been in 2 serious relationships.
And does it feel like on the safety thing, like does it feel safe to kind of lose yourself in you know what I mean? Like that kind of feeling.
I don't know. I'm so independent.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I literally
100%.
I spent my entire childhood by myself. So like I'm so okay with being alone that I'm like I have to actually be very careful with that. So yeah, I like, if anything, Jean and Justin are the 2 people that I've been able to not have to just be on my own. It's like, oh, this is cool. I can like settle into this, but I am very much about like my autonomy, my independence. But I have to say this weekend, and I know I've mentioned it to all of you guys, like this weekend was really important for me and my balancing with Justin because, because of COVID, we haven't been traveling. We haven't been doing our thing. Like usually he's on tour and usually I just go on tons of international trips by myself a year. And we haven't been doing that. So I'm finding that like a lot of things that I would be talking to you guys about if we were in London or something, I'm like telling him and he's like, okay, I'm like,
What's an example?
yeah. Like he's totally okay about me talking about my period, but let's be honest, he's not interested.
100. Totally.
Like it's a deep red.
Yeah. Literally. I'm like, babe, it's so heavy this month. And he's like, okay. And like, but like, we got to talk about stuff like that. So while like, you guys know, I have friendships with Justin, so I'm totally like, I have my own life, but I definitely have not had like the full breadth of independence that I typically experience with him. And this weekend has been like, oh, good. I need to like balance out my feminine with my girls because I haven't really gotten that this year as much as I needed to.
It's so important. Yeah, like you, I'm very much, my default is to be by myself, which I love. But even with Sean, like he's like, I'll kind of speak in like eyes. I'm going to do this. And he's like, what are we going to do? And I'm like, oh. There's a we, you know what I mean? And it's, I definitely know that I'll like retain that independence, but there is something really nice. At least I feel it in like my nervous system when I'm just able to be like, okay, so I don't have to like be by myself and do things by myself. And I think sometimes if I share with friends or even if I share with him, it feels like a lot where I'm just like, it's fine. Like I got it. You don't need to like carry any of it. So that's been kind of my practice of like being able to give to friends some of what I'm just feeling like overwhelmed by.
Totally.
And knowing that they can like hold it and carry it and like be there. But yeah, I've definitely lost myself in many a relationship. And I think, I don't know, I kind of trace it back to just not seeing or seeing like my parents' relationship and just kind of seeing my mom kind of lose herself I feel bad saying that, but yeah, lose herself. I think she's like kind of slowly started to find herself again over the years, but lose herself in a relationship, in having kids, in just like being what everyone needed. And I'm prone to do that, but I'm also like very aware of when I'm doing that. So it's like I almost can't stop myself sometimes because it's like literally in my DNA. I was talking to my therapist the other day and she's like, something happened in the third trimester of like your mom's pregnancy with you, and that can, because third trimester to 7 years old is like a very
when you
developmental
get your
time.
subconscious,
Yeah. And I was like, I don't want to know, but but it made sense. Like it's literally like you're being formed. You know, and like whatever she's going through, I can imagine that like I definitely took on some of that, but yeah.
Definitely.
I relate to all of that on like a million. And I think being the oldest too, Linz, I was the oldest too, and being with my mother, I remember my sister be like, "You're just like mom." And I'd be like, "Fuck, I am." And in a lot of amazing ways, in a lot of ways I didn't want to be like
100%.
her.
Yeah,
you know?
100%.
And then I was like, damn, my mom did lose herself. And you know what? My grandma did too.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And guess what? My other grandma did too with men. So it is a lineage thing. And I think it's a DNA thing, 1,000,000%. And my acupuncturist, literally, when she read my pulse, was like, "Did your mom have a traumatic birth?" She was like, "You carry a lot of stress and worry, but it's not yours."
Yes.
She literally was like, "It's not yours. It's from
it's not yours.
your mother." And I said, "Yeah, my mom was 17 having a kid from a black man, and my grandpa did not approve." Do you know how much trauma and stress and worry my mom was under?
Wow.
Yeah, and I got all of that. So what you just said is I relate like on a million. Yeah.
So deep.
Wow.
Yeah.
Should we do some questions?
Yeah,
Oh,
let's
yeah.
do some
The questions are good from our
questions.
amazing audience. So from the crew, I love this one. Okay. What are your thoughts on maintaining friendships that are long-term, like since your childhood or teen years, when you don't always feel like you're as aligned anymore? I love this one so much.
That's a really good
because
question.
I just love this one because I think there's two parts where it's like my best friend from growing up, Caitlin, it's like we are so different, but like the same in what areas matter to us both.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is like values, humor, like her heart, like her energy is like, it's like such an energetics. And I've seen her do crazy things in her life. She's seen me do crazy things in her life. And we've always been able to be really honest and upfront with one another, like being very, very true and truthful. And it's almost like that sister relationship where she's like probably the only friend I've ever had fights with. Like me and Lindsey have had discussions,
Yeah,
but we've never had like a fight.
I'm ready.
I know it's coming. No, but it's like because we've known each other since we were little.
Yeah,
it's almost like we
totally.
haven't established that like adult friendship, like
Totally.
ability to fight.
Like, get the fuck over here.
Yeah, no, we're not like that, but we're like, fine,
No,
if
I
you're gonna
know.
be quiet all day, then like that kind of thing. And it's really just like been a practice of truly like non-judgment and loving someone for who they are. It's like I deeply love you for who you are, and I'm just so grateful for like you in my life. But then on the other side, it's like if someone's not aligned with me and they're not aligned in the ways that are important to me, which is being like non-judgmental, always leading with love, always leading with kindness, and like living their life to like the best that they can, then that's not a friend anyway. But it's always for me just like a practice of letting go and non-judgment with those people. You know, it's like, who am I to say that we're not aligned in how they live their lives because of what I may be judging them on.
And it's also like loving that part of them is like loving that part of yourself that used to like really be that.
Yes.
You know? Yeah, I completely agree. I think it is just kind of.
You have that too, but it's not female, but.
Yeah, I have female and male that, you know, it just, we've just kind of like grown and evolved elsewhere, but like we can still just have that like heart connection and laugh and I never feed into the differences too much.
Yes.
They might, but I'm just like, okay. like, whatever, you know, because if I do, then I'll get sad and I'll be like, we can't be friends anymore, y'all. Like, I just want to like love them for where they're at. I'll always hold, you know, up a mirror if need be, but I don't know. It just feels so much better to just be like, I love you and you're growing too. I'm growing, like, I don't know.
Go Millie.
Go Millie, go Millie, go.
I was just gonna say that I found that when it gets to a point where I can't be the adult woman that I've become with the people that I grew up with, then that's when it probably needs to end. Yeah, because I had one of my best friends in my childhood. I had to end the relationship 2 years ago, and it was really not ideal. And I really realized there was like a culmination of events actually during her bachelorette where I was the maid of honor.
Oh, we were just talking about that.
Wow. Yeah. And I really realized like, wow, this group does not respect me.
Wow.
Like at all. And whenever I tried to assert just being who I am, like the fact that I would even need to assert being who I am, it was a problem. Yeah. So I really realized like when there's not respect of just being who we are, like I remember there was something as small as like I'm really picky about where we go out to eat, which like we laughed about and we're like, oh, where should we eat, you know? But I really love going to great restaurants and eating really great food. And I remember that being like a point of contention for everybody else. Everybody was like, what is such a stuck-up bitch from New York, you know? And I'm like, I just...
Oh, that's a classic.
Really,
stuck up.
Totally. Classic. I just really like am passionate about this thing. And it's actually like a part of my life.
Yes.
I don't think that you're less than me. I just really want to eat great food.
Literally.
You know, and I remember that being like such a small thing, but so representative of so many other things. And that one thing ended up bubbling up into other issues that bachelorette weekend, that fateful weekend. And I just realized like, this group does not respect me. And respect is primary in my life. And B, oh my gosh, the things that I genuinely care about are coming off as I think I'm too good. And they're not anything to do with them. And I find that can happen, especially like if you leave your town or you leave your know small city and you go out into the world. A lot of times the friends that didn't go with you will have a hard time with the leaps that you've made. And if you can't have respect and appreciation, then for me, I don't think those relationships can last.
And it's weird because you probably didn't, going back and being with them and spending time with them, like, in my experience, it's like, okay, let's pick up where we left off. But they have these kind of stories and feelings around how far you've gone and come, that I had an experience recently where I like saw a bunch of friends who I love so dearly, but I had realized like, whoa, like I have accomplished a lot. And like they were proud of me, but like kind of felt a certain way. And I was just like, oh, okay. Like, I thought we were just going to pick up on like, hey, pass me a shot of Jameson. Yeah, like, we're just going to hang. Like, you know what I mean?
Because that's you, Linz.
Totally. Or that thing where it's like you actually did do something extraordinary and nobody asks you about it.
Oh, big facts.
Nobody acknowledges it. And it's like, wait. Like, I literally just got back from China, hosted a show and won an award for it. And literally nobody asked me how China was.
Dude,
I've been there. Like, that's like life. Honestly,
that's literally going home.
Yeah, me masterfully.
They don't know what questions to ask.
And then you get back from China, and then I'm like, so how's your job at Chase Bank? You know, it's like literally I'm talking about like fucking their job at like whatever.
And at least you're asking
100%,
but they don't ask you back
100%. But the too good thing is like classic.
Yeah,
too good is classic.
Yeah,
that's like just par for the course. But yeah, I could not be friends with a lot of people from my high school just because it's like, it's just.
Well, that idea, I remember you saying, just really quick, I remember you on your Instagram, somebody said to you on Facebook, you've changed, Krista.
Oh, yeah. There's this kid I used to play video games with. He's like, you used to be the girl that we played. I only hung out with boys. Everyone says that. They're like, I was a nerd and only hung out with boys. No. I was a nerd and only hung out with boys. And he's like, you were so cool. You played Sega with us. What happened to you? Now you're like a blow up Barbie doll with no personality. He said, now you're a blow up Barbie doll with no personality.
What?
Dude, that
this
is
guy?
classic.
It was a good one. It was a good one.
That guy's still playing
Holy
Sega.
hell.
Still playing Sega.
That guy's
So I
still
was like,
playing Sega.
wow, like I'm so sorry that I didn't like keep you up to date with my personality via Facebook, brother. Like, what are you talking about? It was just like, dude, I've changed so much.
Last
like,
time I posted on
and thank
Facebook was
God.
2010.
also, thank God I've changed. Also, I was in 4th grade, brother. What do you want me to do? Play video games still?
I love it.
I literally, I have a
Brother.
job. I actually have a
4th
job,
grade.
dude. He's like, the whole thing. He's like, man, he's like, oh, he's like, it's cool. I'm not judging you, but I have muscles and I own a restaurant now. I'm like, it was fucking.
Oh, okay. So we're dealing with a special
He
breed.
actually, I messaged one of my girlfriends who we grew up together, and she's like, yo, I mean, he actually has like fucking issues. But,
Let's do one more.
one more. How can you call more like-hearted, spiritually minded female friends into your life? So how can you call more spiritual friends into your life who are connected to you on your spiritual journey?
How can you call in more like-minded,
Pray.
spiritual?
Pray for them.
Yeah, I think that's a good one.
Honestly.
Good
Pray for
one.
those friends and ask God to bring them into your life and really be in integrity about how you show up and who you allow in. And then Spirit, God, universe is going to bring in really amazing people. That's how I feel
the
like I
truth.
attracted you guys. Really, actually, it was like, God, I really want really wonderful, powerful, amazing, beautiful spiritual friends. And
Yeah.
they'll come.
Yeah.
That's true.
I think going to spaces too that like really empower you and inspire you, because those like-minded women will be in those spaces. So finding, you know, powerful events or like sound baths or meditations or
Totally.
things that are aligning with you, or they're going to align with the girls that you want in your life. So
Yes.
surrounding yourself in those spaces will naturally bring them to you. That's how
Yes.
I met Lindsey and Chris.
Yes.
And I
And we
think
got
just
naked.
owning those parts of you that like are more spiritual and
Yes.
curious, even if it's just in private, like really owning that, you know, owning.
Totally.
And I think energetically that just kind
Yes.
of like says so much. If I see someone like owning a practice or what they believe in, I'm so attracted to them as a person. You know, whether I believe in what they believe or not, it's like, oh wow,
Yeah.
so powerful.
Yeah.
So I just think like the confidence around that too is something that attracts.
And I think it's intuition too, you know, which hopefully they're connected to, but you can feel intuitively if a friendship is like,
Yeah.
Like I had a friend this year that every time I hung out, I was like, I just know I was witness. You know, you have to always bear witness to yourself. That is like just something we need to do every day, whether it's at the middle of the day, during, or after, just bearing witness to yourself. And I was like, why am I really quiet around them? I don't talk about what I'm doing. I'm kind of just listening to them, talking about their thing, which is totally fine. But I really noticed myself getting small, and I felt this like thing. I was like, I just don't feel good about it. And I just was like, you know what? Like, it's something that's telling me that this friendship was off. And then, you know, there was something that happened this year that really proved to me that that's what was happening. But anytime I've had an intuitive hit about something with a friend, I'm like, I think this is off. And then also the other way, when I have an intuitive hit of like, oh my God, like this is like, this feels right. Like, it's almost like I feel euphoric sometimes.
Yeah, totally.
It literally feels like heaven on earth
It's
sometimes.
like in being in love.
It
Yeah.
is.
It
But
is.
with a
Yes.
friend.
Soul connection.
Yes,
really
it's that
is.
soul connection, and you're not scared when you leave them. You know, you feel empowered, you feel
Yes.
happy, you feel
easy.
it's easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just always, so it's following your intuition both ways with everything. And then always trying to be right with yourself. Like, the more right you are with yourself, the more right you are with others. So once you really look at your own stuff, it's so helpful. I mean,
100%.
me and Lindsey have done so much work on that.
Yeah.
Looking at my ability to trust women, looking at my ability to like be vulnerable with women, you know, like in a deep heart way. Like
Yeah.
everyone would think I'm vulnerable, but it's really like me sharing stuff. But there's a difference between sharing and being vulnerable.
Yes.
You know, so also doing that work with women or with yourself or with the mother wound is also really powerful to cultivating powerful, committed female friendships.
I agree.
Amen.
Amen.
This is beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm so grateful.
Me
Truly.
too. Thank you, ladies.
Any last thoughts from the heart from either of you?
I love you guys.
Love you.
I think
do.
one of the things that I would love to share that this container has really helped fortify in my adulthood is the value of getting away with friends and like actually like it's one thing to go to dinner and that's really fortifying, but to actually like leave your home and go away and do like these little vacations. I used to think it was such a luxury because like that in my mind was like something that I couldn't afford or something. But you know, now that we're doing this, I realize like, oh, this is actually what gives me inspiration. This is what actually makes me feel more clear on who I am. It makes me go home and like have more lightness with my partner. Like there's so many things that this kind of container does that just one night at dinner doesn't really quite get to yet. And so I really, really recommend for the ladies that are listening, like even if you're just getting to know people, because I feel like Laticia and I kind of got to know each other through this container of this like foursome. And, you know, I don't even like get to see you as much, but like we get to have these really deep touch bases, and that could be a really great way for women to get to know each other. So I just can't recommend enough. I know that COVID makes things a little bit more challenging right now, but if you can get away in a safe way that, you know, is sustainable for you, I really, really recommend doing that.
Yeah, I think like having enough time, because to your point, like a 2-hour dinner, it's like you kind of like work up to the dinner and then you're there and then you kind of decompress, you come home. But like when you're spending like a few days together, you kind of see, you're able to be with each other when you're tired, when you're like giddy, when you're like, you know, just
when you wake up.
Yeah, it's just like, yeah, it's kind of beautiful because
When you get food poisoning after dinner.
That was me.
because there's like there can be a performative
Yes.
thing to a dinner date or a,
For sure.
and we don't
Yeah.
mean to, but it's just like, okay, I'm going to put on this outfit. I'm going to go
Yes.
see my friends and I'm going to come home
And you're like,
get
what's
my
going
jammies.
on? And then you're like telling about it's like your
Yes.
work, like whatever. I completely agree.
Yeah. Really powerful. And I think just like friendships take work.
Yes.
You know, I think I'm
Yes.
learning that. I'm always learning that. I think I can take for granted my friendships, and just like
Same.
pouring into them is so important. And it's like doing the work yourself is equally as important for you as it is for your friendships, for your relationship with your family, with your romantic partner. Like it's a gift to them too. And I love our friendship because like we can reflect back to each other, like the work you did this year is
Yes.
palpable, and I see it, and I'm feeling a difference. I'm feeling, you know what I mean? So it does take work though. You know, it's not going to be like, it will be easy, but it will also take work to maintain and just pour in and evolve together.
Totally.
You know what I love the most about us and you guys? It's like I might not see you guys or talk to you for a month or 2 months or 3 weeks, but it's like I still feel you and your energy. When we come together, it's like I just saw you in January. And like I can't wait to catch up and hear you and feel you and see what's going on and like hear about the boyfriends and the wedding and everything. You know what I mean? There's no like neediness.
Yes.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
you know
yeah,
those
yeah.
friends that are
Lots of
needy?
100%.
Ugh.
Yes.
This is like you said, Millie, easy. And you guys, we honor each other and like we see each other and we support each other. And it's like, okay, we doing this. All right, cool, let's roll.
Totally.
Yes.
Yeah, because
That's what I love the most.
That whole work on doing yourself is like being so confident in yourself you can be happy for others.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like literally, like I am so happy that I'm genuinely fucking happy for people.
Yeah.
It is like, yo, that I didn't feel that all my life.
Mm-hmm.
It was not like I would ever wish ill, but I would be happy for people, but it's not this where it's like my happiness is almost more than for myself.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's also too with us not like we all talk all the time, but it's like, yeah, that neediness is like, if you don't need anything yourself and you're not looking for validation outside, then you're always good. And you always just appreciate your friends for whenever they can be there with you.
Yeah.
But I do agree with you. It is like work.
It is.
You know, it's like
Totally.
work to just like love and be with someone. But I'm really looking forward to hopefully seeing people really pour into their female friendships, because I think there's been a lot of marketing online with like female empowerment and all that kind of stuff. And this year has actually been really transformational for a lot of people, but it's actually been a very much a takedown year for women and a lot of obviously other oppressed groups. But I've seen so many women, female founders be like taken down. It's been really interesting to see the ways in which that we actually don't really know how to support women. We don't really know how to like love women. And we don't really, as women, I think really know from growing up like what it means to really be a friend.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of like broken hearts around females, you know, whether it's the mother or high school, middle school, sister, you know, it's just like, and I think we can all agree that we want that connection.
Yeah.
You know, at the end of the day.
Yeah.
That love and that
A lot of
connection.
mistrust.
Yeah, for sure.
But, and also, guys, it's a lot of like the media. Like, look what's on TV nowadays. It's like, no offense to reality TV, but it's always making us look like we're crazy and we're catty and we hate each other and we fight. Bro, that's not how we are.
So true.
You know, that's not how real friendships. Yeah.
If you watch
every
like
reality show.
Watching Real
Bachelorette.
Housewives,
Yeah,
Bachelor.
They asked me to be on Real Housewives
No way.
and Wags. And I was like,
Atlanta?
never in my life. Yeah. And I said, never in a million years.
And Wags, I could see that.
That
is so true.
they create women in such a horrible light.
Yeah.
It's so disrespectful. Like these women
Yeah.
are just catty and nasty and not supportive. The media really portrays us like we're that, and that's not what real
That's so
friendships
true.
are with women. You know, I don't believe that. But it's media. It's the patriarchal system where we're always competing against each other.
100%.
Who wore this better? And it's always like two women. And I'm like, bro, they're both fucking bad. Like, what are you talking about? Like, stop making us go against each other.
Mm-hmm.
It's sad.
Totally.
Could not agree more.
Love you guys.
Love you.
Where can they connect with you?
Well, I feel like I know everyone that's out there listening right now. But if I don't know you, then we should get to know each other. Because I am doing a few different programs, energy healing and breath work, and helping practitioners to really like actually live their vision. So if you're interested in any of that, just go to Millana Snow on Instagram and Wellness Official, and everything's there.
Beautiful.
Awesome. Well, guys, I haven't met a lot of you, and I can't wait to meet a lot of you. You guys can connect with me at laticia.roll on Instagram, and then my podcast called Girl We Got This, girlwegotthis.co on the gram. I just want you guys to all honor yourselves and to have the power to share your story. And that's what I do in my podcast, is to really allow us to let the guilt and the shame of what we've been through be able to reframe that into actual lessons, into growth, and to actually, this made me the woman I am today, and I'm badass. So we got this. And bro, we got this.
We got this.
Girl, we got this. Bro, we got this.
All right. We love you guys. We will see you soon.
Love you.
Bye.
Bye.